Europe and the US making good on threats of more sanctions on Russia, but will it be enough to move the policy needle in the Kremlin? WHDay's Marcus Walker joins us from Berlin to explain the problems with trying to impose sanctions and getting a result. Marcus, thanks for being there.
Hello.
Hi. Traditionally, sanctions haven't really worked to move the needle on much stuff, but the White House seems to disagree with that, pointing to their Iran success.
Yes, I mean, traditionally, or rather for many decades, there's been a long debate about whether sanctions really work. And there are many cases where sanctions, even when they were very strong, ended up targeting or hurting the wrong people, namely the general population of the country, without really changing the policies of the government, which was the aim. And the long and very harsh sanctions against the Iraqi population, for example, which never shifted Saddam an inch, and if anything strengthened him, for one of those examples. Now, Iran is a case where eventually sanctions work. So US and EU officials see that as a good case, because they believe that that's what forced Iran finally to negotiate seriously about its nuclear program. But it's really questionable whether Russia is comparable with Iran.
Yeah, and Marcus, one of the things there is Russia has this huge foreign reserves cushion, right? It's sitting in the central bank. They're like, okay, great. Well, we got a few dollars to ease the pain.
Yes, and in general, actually, it's a relatively closed economy. Trade and foreign financing is not that important to Russia. What really is important to Russia is the exports of gas and oil. So that would be the one way that they really depend on economic ties with the outside world. But of course, cutting off those energy supplies would hurt European economies just as much, including a lot of Central and Eastern European countries that are among those the West is trying to protect from Russian bullying. So that's the one core area that sanctions probably won't touch, at least not soon.
And we have a graphic here, and I'm going to walk us through it. It's a trade from Russia with the European Union. About 12.3% of the European Union economy is trade with Russia. It's up 73% since 2009. The US, it's 1.2%. It's negligible. It's still up over 40, about 49%. So clearly, the U.S. has the capability to say, okay, we'll have a blanket sanctions, won't really affect the U.S., will affect Europe quite a lot.
Yes. Also, a blanket U.S. economic embargo against Russia just wouldn't hurt Russia that much, because Russia doesn't depend on earning large amounts of money through its trade with the U.S. Obviously, the US could do what it did with Iran and say, we're not just going to sanction this country, we're also going to sanction any other company from any country that does business with them. But I don't really expect the US will start punishing European companies that are doing trade with Russia, because this is in Europe's backyard, it's not in the Middle East, and the US is trying to work together with Europe and not against it.
Now, one of the things we know about the oil market is that it is a global market, and if oil stops flowing out of Russia, that could affect the price globally of oil. That's and natural gas, I'm guessing too. That's particularly important for the Europe. It's particularly Northern Europe. Natural gas prices are several times bigger than they are in the US, and it's pretty chilly in the winter in the UK.
Yes, I mean, right now there's not much need for heating oil in Europe, but industry needs gas for electricity generation in many countries, including Germany. And come winter, it won't only be important in Northern Europe, also in Mediterranean countries, but also in Central and Eastern Europe. But frankly, the gas deliveries themselves are so important for both sides, both for Western and Central Europe and also for Russia itself, that they're very unlikely to be touched. And this raises a big question about this sanctions regime. If your main piece of business isn't a part of it, because both sides have too much to lose from that, then how effective are sanctions going to be that concentrate on secondary areas of business?
We shall see. We shall see soon enough, won't we? Thank you very much, Marcus Walker of the Wall Street Journal.